Hi everyone. So it's me again, Manuel Rodriguez, Manuel Oil Paints. Today I'm working on a totally different type of painting. This is an impressionistic painting. It's Friday, November 1st. I haven't painted for about a week and a half or so because I was taking a little vacation. But I'm back now. So if you've been following my videos on YouTube, you'll see that I began by demonstrating my progress on some portrait paintings, but in a realism sort of style, right? And now, as you might have known if you listen to my videos, I've been taking a course on portrait painting with a very good painter named Rafat Maximos. He's been my professor for a while now, and he's from Egypt originally, but lives and paints and teaches in El Paso, Texas. So I've been taking this class online with him, and I really appreciate him a lot as a person and as a painter. So I've been doing this online course with him, and now we've shifted into impressionistic painting, right? So here I have a reference Renoir painting of Monet, and as you can tell, it's very different from what I've been doing before. I really enjoy doing impressionistic painting. I don't have a tons of experience doing it, but I've done it a few times already, and what I really like about it is that I get to be more loose when I paint and focus more on the colors and the brightness, the darks, the temperatures. And what I like the most though is the vibrancy of the paintings, right? They might not be as realistic or earthy as realistic paintings look, but since I really love color in general, when I get to use very vibrant colors, I really enjoy painting like that. And also lots of my strokes come directly from the tube, from the paint, without mixing, without pre-mixing. So I've been working on this for about an hour and a half or so. I'll zoom in so you could see a little better. There still needs a lot of work to be done, but the goal is to finish this painting in one sitting, right? So I'm not going to be letting this dry and then continuing, but I'm just gonna paint for a little longer, and whatever the end result is, that's gonna be the final painting. So I'm just going to document a little bit of my painting process. So I was already using this brush, medium size brush or so, not too big. And I'll just bring this forward a little bit so you can see better. And yeah, right now what I'm really focusing on is filling up the white canvas, right? So in the other paintings, the traditional paintings, usually I tone the canvas with an earthy tone, right? And in this case, I didn't tone the canvas before because that way I can see the vibrancy of the colors a lot better, right? They can stand out more. So yep, I'll just be working on this a little bit. I don't plan to make my video too long, and I'll be working on that, maybe not having extra long videos unless you want to see long videos, and let me know in the comments or reach out to me if you know me and tell me what you think about my painting videos. But this is a new thing I've been doing, and I've been really enjoying doing this. It makes me accountable and also inspires me to paint more, right? Whenever I haven't painted, sometimes I just paint so that I can upload a video and share my painting process with you. But yeah, this is impressionistic style painting, which I really like doing. So next week, as I've been doing every week, I've been starting a different painting, not necessarily finishing every painting, but Obviously, for the other more realistic looking ones, I work on them. I need to work on them more and eventually finish them. But for these impressionistic ones, similar to plain air painting, which is painting outside, I want to finish it in one sitting, right? So right now, I'm just going to document a little bit of what I'm still trying to do here, which is to cover up all the white parts of the canvas with paint. So for example, here I can see canvas, and I'm keeping the brushstroke short and light so that the paint that I grab doesn't mix too much with the paint that is already there. Like I said, the paint is already wet. It's all wet right now. So if I do too much, put too much pressure on my strokes, or if I um, do very long strokes, then the paint begins to blend and it creates a muddy looking color, right? And it takes away that vibrancy from the impressionistic look that I really enjoy. So you have to be careful as you do this, but at the same time, it's more loose, more relaxed to me. It's interesting because there's other people also doing this course, right? And some people were sharing their opinions about how this was not very fun for them because because it looks like it's very hard to work like this. Their painting gets very messy and their colors get very muddy, and I understand the frustration, right? But for me, it's the opposite. I actually really enjoy the mess and the muddiness of the colors, right? So also because I've done a few of these before, it's not new to me. Um, so for some of these other students, it was something they had never tried, so I understand why they were feeling that frustration. But obviously, like anything, when you try something for the first time, very often it's not gonna be very easy, and it can even be a little frustrating, right? So it's important to just have fun as you do it and learn as you do it, and most likely the next time you do it, then it will be better, right? It will be easier because you will already have some experience doing it. So I'm not very sure how long I'm going to do this, because after this I'm going to go see a guitar concert, and as some of you know, I'm a guitar player and that's my main job, my profession, to play and teach guitar. So today I'm going to see a very, very good Cuban guitarist named Marco Tamayo perform. He's a classical guitar player and he teaches in Germany, I believe. I'm not quite 100% sure, but I've never seen him play, right? And I've always wanted to see his concert, and I promised myself that if he came to Milwaukee, I live in Milwaukee, then I would go check him out. And finally he's coming, so I'll be leaving in about 2 hours maybe. So that's as long as I plan to work on this painting. That's gonna be my deadline for the painting. So it's important, if you're trying to finish a painting in one sitting, I think, to set some clear deadlines, right? Some boundaries, so that you know exactly how much time you have, and you can pressure yourself a little bit and that forces you to paint a little faster, a little more loose, right? But also, I don't want to stress myself out, right? So remember, have fun while you do it. And yeah, right now my main goal, in the next couple hours, I'm just going to be darkening parts that I see need more dark, and I'm going to be covering all of that canvas that I see that I don't want to see. I really hate to see the canvas going through. So as soon as I can cover everything with paint, at least that will make me happy, right? So that's my goal right now. And later I can share. Um, Obviously, I'm not going to record myself for complete 2 hours doing this, but later I can share my final painting. So, yep, this is a style that I didn't appreciate. That I've always liked impressionistic painting, but sometimes when I saw paintings like Renoir, for example, I didn't really think they were that great. I don't know. Now it's the opposite. I look at them and I just see the splash of color. I think that's the best way I can put it, like a splash of color. And when you see them in person, it's really impressive, right? To see how beautiful these works turn out. So now I really have an appreciation for this type of art. I think it's also more accessible if you're just starting to paint. And one of my first paintings, by the way, this is a fun fact, after I finished um, school at Texas A&M, I studied art. I stopped painting during my master's degree in music, and I took like a 3 year break from painting. And a lot of people didn't know that I painted because I never really mentioned it. Sometimes the close people knew it, but when I decided to get back into painting, my first painting was an impressionistic painting. My first painting after taking a 3 year break, I painted something, a boat, a beautiful boat. It was a reproduction. I don't know whose painting it was, but it was not my original. I just somewhat like this, copying masterwork, and I gave this painting to my grandmother. She really liked it, and the reason why I chose to paint this impressionistic painting was because I felt a little rusty, right? I hadn't painted for a long time, so I thought might as well do something fun, right? To me, this is considered like a fun painting where I can just, there's no really mistakes, just enjoy it. If you don't like how a part looks, then you change it up, and if you don't like how it looks, then you paint over it, and you can just repeat the process until you start to enjoy how your painting is looking. And yeah, that's what happened. I painted that, and it was beautiful in the end. I was happy with it, and it got me back on track with painting. It inspired me to start again, and then I started to get more serious about it, even more serious than when I was studying art, I think, because I really grew a love for painting, right? And not only impressionistic stuff like this, but also difficult technical painting. So it's important, I think, to try to do a little bit of both, to sometimes do something as photographic as you can, other times something impressionistic and fun. But I have noticed though that there's people that really enjoy seeing impressionistic artwork. When they see it, I have a couple of impressionistic paintings. I did a, a red moon here in Milwaukee. There was a day when um, the moon was very close to the sun, or I don't know how that, I'm not the best in astronomy, but the moon looked red. So I went to the park to look at the moon, and I took a picture. It was nighttime, but it looked very bright, almost like a sun. So I took a picture, I painted that. It's called Buckley Park Red Moon, and it's still, people have asked me if it's for sale, and yes, it's for sale. I just don't have a price tag. It's on my wall right now, or later I'll maybe frame it and really put it out there for sale, but people really always comment on that and they like it. And other impressionistic works I've done always receive nice comments. I think maybe because I think my theory is that the color involved, there's a lot of colors everywhere. So I think people really, when they look at it, they think, wow, that's beautiful, you know, just because there's so many different colors, not so much the technical side of things, but just the color explosion for the eye, I believe. So, yep, it always feels that way when I paint something impressionistic. Like there's just too much going on in a good way. So, yeah, I'm going to work here on the chair a little bit. There's too much canvas showing. And you get the point, little by little. Start covering all the white parts of the canvas. That's my first goal. And once I achieve that, once I stop seeing too much of that, then I'll start really working on more detail, right? So let's say like uh, darkening some parts of the painting, and if there's not a lot of paint in some parts, then I'll add some paint to it so that it looks nice. And I call it slippery when there's a lot of paint on the wet paint on the canvas and my brush just slips around, and because the canvas is dry, right? So when there's a lot of paint, the brush slips really easy, and that's how I know if there's enough paint in a part where I'm working on. So I like the canvas to be loaded with paint, right? And so that it looks thick, almost like paste. So that's what I start to work on slowly, adding more paint, and loading the brush is very important to make sure that it looks like, I always call it like a cake frosting, right? So something thick application of paint. Add some darks too to define some lines. It looks more cartoonish when, I mean, if you look at the reference, there's a lot of black paint or dark paint outlining the body to make sense of what we're looking at, and that makes it look a little more two-dimensional in my opinion, but that is part of the style. So I need to add more definition, more contrast to this painting. So we're getting there for the beard. Right before I stop recording for today, for the beard I'm using a little brush, just a thin brush like this, to get more defined brush strokes, right? And obviously I'm just doing them randomly around different places. Obviously you cannot copy what you see exactly here. It's gonna be impossible to do that. So I just find an idea and I develop that idea. So if I see green or white or yellow, I just grab some of that and I start to cover the canvas with some of those colors until it starts to become alive with the colors that I'm adding. Like here in the cheek, there's some, if you need to change color, then you clean the brush, right? So that you don't have a muddy color. And obviously the face is a little smaller here, so I'm being more, using a smaller brush, a little more careful. So yeah, well, I'm happy at this point how this is turning out. I think it's looking nice. And like, for example, here on the pipe, I see like some straight up red, so I'm just gonna add red like that. Maybe I don't love how that came out, but doesn't matter that much because I can move the paint around and until it looks soothing to my eye. And if I need more intense color, then I grab more on the brush and I just dab it on there, right? I'm taking this opportunity to find more saturated parts, like the ear has like a little dab of red right here, and it's more like a crimson. It's not that warm, so I'm gonna grab a little crimson and just drop it in there. And if it doesn't look exactly how I want it to look, that's fine. I just fix as I go, and the goal is to not let the paint dry. Obviously it's oil, so the oil takes longer to dry, and it's not gonna dry on me here, especially the colors I'm using are very slow drying colors, and because I'm using a lot of thick paint on the brush, then it even takes longer to oxidize, really. So I'm not worried that it's gonna dry on me. All I want to be able to do is take it as far as I can right now, without, in one single session, right? So I'll just work on the hand a little bit. I'm wanting to darken parts that I see that need darkening, but then I remember that my goal is to cover the whole canvas as quickly as I can. So maybe later what I'll do, once it's dry, I'll cheat a little bit, and on those parts where there's very strong white or light values, I will come again and add the highlights, because right now when there's wet paint, highlighting with white on top of wet paint, it's been a little tricky, right? So I'll just maybe do that later, maybe another session, but honestly my goal is to not do 2 sessions. So we'll treat this as an experiment, but I don't promise anything, right? I maybe will do it. If I see that it needs it, I'll do it, and then the next time I'll try my best not to, I already learned something from here, not to put color where there's white, right? To let the white canvas go through, so that way when I put white on top, I'm not mixing the white with another color. It's just white canvas with white on top. So that way it looks like a really nice, strong, straight up white. But overall, it's not that hard. I mean, I'm just putting here some blobs of white that I see. And then also important to not touch it after it's there, right? Like not come with another color and accidentally mix it with something else and then have to redo it. The tip of the nose, some white. My brush feels dirty, so I just clean it. Here there's a lot of white, and again, I should not have maybe covered it so much with the other pigments, but it's done. So now I just have to correct, and like that, little by little, start to get a nice painting of Monet smoking a pipe. So I'll stop right there for now, and I'll zoom in here so you can see what I've done so far. And there's a little glare there, but I hope you can see better. You see, so all of these little parts that you can see the canvas, I'm going to do my best to cover them. Right now, right here, you can see right there. But that's the idea of an impressionistic painting, right? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe, and I'll be uploading more videos in the future. Bye bye, thank you.